Have you ever stopped to think about the devastating power that some words can have on a child's life? No mother wakes up in the morning planning to destroy her child's self-esteem. But the truth is that certain phrases, repeated in the weariness of daily life, can create emotional wounds that last a lifetime. Behavioral change specialist Mel Robbins reveals that there is a huge difference between educating a child and hurting their soul through words. What many mothers don't realize is that when certain comments become routine, they cease to be mere moments of irritation and transform into deep-seated beliefs that shape how that child will see themselves, position themselves, and relate to others for the rest of their lives. The problem isn't making a mistake once in a while, because that's part of the motherhood process. The real danger lies in normalizing phrases that hurt silently, creating toxic patterns that repeat from generation to generation. If you are watching this video because something has touched your heart or awakened a memory, I want you to know that this content was not created to accuse or judge mothers. On the contrary, it was created to raise awareness about how our language can be a tool for construction or destruction in our children's lives. So subscribe to the channel, because we're going to dive together into a topic that can completely transform the way you see raising children. Before we reveal these 5 devastating phrases, we need to understand why maternal words carry such intense emotional weight in a child's development. The mother's voice is, literally, the first emotional reference a child has. It is through this voice that they learn the basic concepts of love, boundaries, belonging, and their own value as a human being. Mel Robbins explains that children cannot separate their mother's words as merely momentary opinions or reflections of a difficult day. For them, everything that comes from the maternal figure is interpreted as absolute truth about who they are. When a phrase is repeated several times, it doesn't just remain a memory in the child's mind. It transforms into an internal belief, a truth they carry about themselves. It's like a program that runs in the background throughout life, influencing decisions, relationships, and even self-esteem. That's why it's so important for mothers to develop awareness of the transformative or destructive power of their words. Leave a comment writing, "Only words educate," if you agree that this awareness can change everything in the relationship between mothers and children. Now let's look at the first toxic phrase that can destroy a child's self-esteem. "You're just a burden." This simple phrase communicates something terrible to a child's heart. It conveys direct emotional rejection. When a mother says this repeatedly, the child begins to see themselves as a burden, as something that hinders their parents' lives instead of being a blessing. They internalize the idea that their own existence is problematic and that it would be better for everyone if they simply didn't exist or if they were different from who they are. In adulthood, this wounded child transforms into a person who carries deep guilt for simply existing. They develop extreme difficulty asking for help when needed because they believe they will be seen as inconvenient. They live with a constant fear of bothering others, always apologizing for taking up space, for having needs, for expressing opinions. Mel Robbins warns that children need to feel welcome in their parents' lives, not just tolerated. They need to know that their presence is a joy, not a sacrifice. When a mother is tired or frustrated, it's natural that childcare can seem overwhelming at times. But expressing this directly to the child through phrases like that creates a deep emotional wound. What the child needs to hear is that they are loved unconditionally, even when their behavior needs correction. There is a huge difference between saying, "You only give me trouble," and saying, "I need you to help me have a more peaceful day." The second devastating phrase is, "After everything I do for you." This phrase is particularly dangerous because it plants the seeds of emotional guilt in the child's heart. When a mother uses this expression repeatedly, she is teaching that love always comes with a hidden cost, that all affection, all care, all emotional investment is a debt that the child needs to repay. This creates a profoundly unhealthy dynamic in the mother-child relationship. The child who grows up hearing this phrase learns that they don't deserve unconditional love, that they always need to be paying for the care they receive. In adulthood, this manifests as a person who has extreme difficulty saying no to any request because they carry the feeling that they owe constant satisfaction to others. They assume emotional responsibilities that are not theirs, always trying to please in order to feel worthy of love and care. Mel Robbins teaches that guilt doesn't educate, it conditions. When a mother uses guilt as an educational tool, she is not teaching values or responsibilities to the child. She is creating an unhealthy emotional pattern where the child learns that they need to constantly sacrifice themselves to deserve affection. This generates adults who become emotionally exhausted, trying to pay a debt that never existed, because parental love should be unconditional and free. The healthy dynamic would be for the mother to express her needs and frustrations without turning the child into an emotional debtor. Instead of, "After everything I do for you," it would be much more constructive to say something like, "I'm feeling overwhelmed today, and I need your help." In this way, the child learns cooperation without carrying guilt, learns empathy without becoming an emotional hostage of their parents. The third toxic phrase is, "You're just like your father," especially when said in a critical or contemptuous tone. This negative comparison is extremely destructive because it doesn't correct behavior. It labels the child's identity. When a mother makes this comparison in a derogatory way, she is telling the child that there is something fundamentally wrong with her by nature, something she cannot change because it is in her genetic essence. This generates deep insecurity and terrible emotional confusion in the child. She becomes torn between the natural love she feels for her father and the implicit message that being similar to him is something negative. Furthermore, the child begins to believe that she possesses bad characteristics that are immutable, that are irreversibly part of her personality. This completely destroys self-esteem and the capacity for personal growth. Mel Robbins teaches that negative comparisons destroy self-esteem because they label instead of educate. When a mother wants to correct a specific behavior, she should focus on that particular behavior, not make a generalization about the child's personality based on similarities with another person. The child needs to understand that her behaviors can be modified, but that her essence is unique and valuable. The impact of this phrase extends far beyond childhood. In adulthood, this person will carry a feeling that there is something fundamentally flawed within them, something they cannot identify or correct. This generates insecurity in relationships, difficulty with self-confidence, and a tendency to self-sabotage because they believe they don't deserve good things in life. Now let's move on to the last two devastating phrases that complete this grim list. The fourth phrase is, "If you continue like this, no one will love you." This is perhaps one of the cruelest because it directly plants the fear of abandonment in the child's heart. When a mother uses this phrase to try to correct behavior, she is teaching that love is conditional and can be withdrawn at any moment if the child does not behave according to expectations. This creates an adult who lives in constant fear of being abandoned, who develops extreme emotional dependence, and who constantly modifies their personality to please others. The person grows up believing that they need to be perfect to deserve love, that any mistake or imperfection can result in total rejection. This generates superficial relationships based on fear instead of genuine intimacy. The fifth and final phrase is, "I do this because I love you," said after moments of physical or emotional aggression. This phrase is particularly insidious because it completely confuses the concept of love in the child's mind. They learn that love comes with pain, control, and fear. This creates an extremely dangerous mental association where emotional pain is interpreted as a demonstration of affection. In adulthood, this manifests in abusive relationships where the person accepts bad treatment because they interpret it as signs of intense love. They cannot identify healthy relationships because for them, love has always been accompanied by suffering. Mel Robbins explains that these phrases teach that affection hurts, and this pattern is constantly repeated in the person's future relationships. Leave a comment writing, "Parenting is awareness," if you agree that this conscious decision can completely transform the way we raise our children. Because the truth is that recognizing these patterns is the first step to breaking them. It's important to understand that mothers who use these phrases are not monsters or intentionally bad people. In most cases, they are mothers who are trapped in unresolved emotional patterns, unconsciously reproducing the way they were raised. Often, they themselves were children who heard these same phrases and now repeat them because it's the only model of motherhood they know. But here's the good news. When awareness enters, the cycle can be completely interrupted. Mel Robbins constantly reinforces that parenting is guiding behavior without harming identity. It is perfectly possible to correct inappropriate behavior, set limits, and teach values without humiliating, blaming, or labeling the child. Words can correct without destroying. They can teach without hurting. The transformation begins when the mother develops self-awareness about the impact of her words. When she understands that each sentence is a seed planted in her child's heart, she naturally begins to choose words that build up instead of tear down. This doesn't mean she needs to become perfect overnight, but rather that she needs to take emotional responsibility for her language choices. When a mother consciously changes her way of communicating, something magical happens in her relationship with her children. The bond strengthens because the child begins to feel emotionally secure. The home ceases to be an unstable emotional field full of verbal landmines and becomes a space of safety and healthy growth. This doesn't mean that family life will become perfect, free of conflict or difficulties. It means that challenges will be faced constructively, that mistakes will be learning opportunities instead of reasons for humiliation, and that the child will grow up knowing that they are loved unconditionally, even when their behavior needs adjustment. Emotional responsibility in practice means that a mother recognizes that her words have power, that her unprocessed emotions can deeply hurt her children, and that she is committed to working on herself to provide the best possible emotional environment for her children's development. When you understand that words create internal realities, that repeated phrases become ingrained beliefs, you automatically become more careful with every word that comes out of your mouth. You understand that you are not just correcting a momentary behavior, but contributing to the formation of the self-image that this child will carry for the rest of their life. The change begins with small adjustments in daily language. Instead of, "You only give me trouble," try, "I need you to help me have a more peaceful day." Instead of, "After everything I do for you," try saying, "I feel disrespected when you act like this." Instead of, "You are just like your father," focus on the specific behavior that needs to be corrected. These changes may seem subtle, but the emotional impact on the child is enormous. She learns that she is loved even when she makes mistakes, that she can grow and improve without being labeled, that she is part of a family where she can be authentic without fear of rejection. The legacy that a conscious mother leaves for her children goes far beyond childhood. She is raising emotionally healthy adults who know how to position themselves in the world with confidence, who can establish genuine relationships, and who have the self-esteem necessary to pursue their dreams and goals. When the cycle of toxic language is broken, it impacts not only the children themselves, but also future generations. These children grow up knowing how to use words to build instead of tear, and naturally pass this on to their own children when they reach adulthood. Conscious parenting isn't about perfection, it's about responsibility. It's about understanding that every word matters, that every interaction is an opportunity to sow self-esteem or insecurity, that every day is a chance to strengthen or weaken the bond with your children. If you've made it this far in this video, it's because something has deeply touched your heart. Perhaps you recognized phrases you heard in your own childhood, or perhaps you noticed patterns you reproduce with your children. Regardless of the situation, know that simply having this awareness is already the first step towards transformation. Always remember, words educate when chosen consciously and with love. They have the power to build self-esteem, teach values, and strengthen family bonds in a lasting way. The decision to use this power constructively is yours, and that choice can completely transform the emotional future of your children.